Hello everyone, it's Nick here again and glad to see you and welcome back one and all. We're on the ZX Spectrum 128K and this is Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge by Gremlin Graphics in 1990. This game first came out I believe on the Commodore Amiga and the Atari ST and then sort of like been backported to the 8-bit systems. Also come out on the Amstrad CPC and the Commodore 64. Now, this is such a classic game on the Commodore Amiga, which I played it first. It's interesting to see how the ZX Spectrum copes with it. But all the tracks are there. You got the easy race, medium and hard races there. A number of different tracks. Involves a bit of loading on the tape if we do some of the other ones. I will keep it to automatic gears. My name is Nick, so let's put that in. Automatic acceleration, why not? We have to hit fire button to slow down, that makes it a little bit easier. Now I've already had a bit of a test run on this beforehand to try and get an idea as we go to Italy, but it's a lot more difficult than the 16-bit versions only because it's a bit harder to see things, the visibility is less. The programmers have tried to keep the iconic split screen there where you could have two players, one at the top, one at the bottom. It's very ambitious, so because you're just using half a screen or even less than half a screen, it makes it very difficult to see things. Now I'm up the top there. Graphically I can't knock this on the ZX Spectrum, it's good, but trying to find your path through is extremely tricky. So it requires a lot of concentration. You do have to keep your eye a lot on the direction signs, because turning before the graphics update will actually help you. Now we've got to finish in the top 8. On the Amiga version, on easy, I just go straight to the front of the field and start lapping people. This is very different. A much different challenge. The cars weave left and right to make it hard to overtake. The frame rate is a little bit jerky as it tries to maintain the speed. And that makes it a bit, well, tricky. Cars sometimes become a bit see-through, but that's what you would expect there. Very tricky game. So, concentrate, but it does reward you if you stick with it. Haven't seen this on the Amstrad CPC or the Commodore 64. You might have played that one. Comment below if you have done. So we're already in 8th place. If there was a second player playing, they'll be using the bottom part of the screen, but at the moment that's redundant, so you just see the second Lotus just in the garage. Engine sounds a little bit suspect. Could be anything. So we got 4 laps. On the longer circuits you have to use pit stops or else you'll run out of fuel. Right. This is the easiest track. I'm in 8th and I can't see anyone. Track is a little bit narrow as well. But the one positive of this is it's for a Spectrum game, the update is travelling very, very fast. It's just that the frame rate can't cope with it. Very ambitious to try and bring Lotus Esprit to the Spectrum. I'm glad they tried, but it's not quite working. Lotus 2 didn't quite make it, I don't think. But nice big sprites, the cars are big. Let's try and weave through here. Right, we're in 6th place. So you know, it's quite a good racer. It's hard to see competitors up against it. It was released in 1990. Don't get me wrong, doesn't compare at all with the Commodore Amiga version. That just knocks this for 6. But it's a fair attempt. It's a fair attempt. So let's just concentrate on trying to qualify here. I'm not going to win every race. I probably won't win any. We'll try about 3 circuits, I think. See if it improves. Whoops. You lose a lot of time for crashing into your opponents. That's how it should be. But a part of this made me want to keep trying again as we're on the final lap to try and win. So it does have some replay value there. But as a racing game, I can't fully enjoy it because it's more like a reactions game. A bit like trying to thread something through the eye of a needle. It doesn't feel like driving to me. Right. My nerves are on the edge. Whoops. Should have slowed down around that bend, really. But the Lotus itself is good. You go left and right, that animates quite well. If the car was a solid colour, which I don't think the Spectrum could have done, so that's a bit of a cruel comparison. If the car was a solid colour, probably work a bit better. Oh, dearie me. 6th place, end of the race. So I come 6th there, Crash Hard Banger 1, Sterling Mess 2nd, James Horn 3rd. So what race is next? We're on to Mexico in Monterey. Race 2 of 7. We're on desert road, so that means it's probably going to be yellow. And it says, watch out for sharp corners. Will do. Yes. We start a bit higher up the grid here because we didn't finish very well. 5 laps to go, so we make up 3 positions, then we're cooking. Get out the way. Nice sunny weather. No weather conditions on this, but I don't think there was any weather conditions on the first Lotus. On the second one, on the Amiga at least, and the Atari ST, you had weather conditions like rain and snow. Whoops, getting a bit crowded. So a maximum about 3 or 4 cars on the track at the same time. 2 players was a bit ambitious on this. I think maybe they should have let that go and just done a 1 player. Try and use the whole screen. I think with the additional memory that was released, especially on the 128K, it could have looked quite special. But as I say, it's quite good. It could have been a bit better, probably about 10% better. So not a great deal. But they used the whole screen there. I mean, how much of the screen we're actually using at the moment? A very thin letterbox. Could have lost the second part. But they tried to be accurate to the original version. Can't make my mind up really. What should they have done? Drop 2 players entirely? Haven't actually played this in 2 players. One person will be on the joystick, another one scrabbling on the keyboard, I think. Could be a bit exciting, but whether you know it's your friend below or not, I don't know. I'm a bit dubious how that gameplay would work. Whoa. Right, what are we on? Lap 2 of 5. We're in 8th place, so at least we've qualified. Bear in mind, this is the easy races. And the hard championship consists of 15 races, and that takes, well, about over an hour to complete. So your Spectrum will be red hot by then. The cooling systems on the 128K were a lot better than the 48K rubber one. That had terrible problems. I think a lot of those computers ended up melting. Whoa. That's it. So I'm getting better around the corners here. Just gets a bit of a problem when we hit 3 opponents at the same time. Occasionally you can get knocked sideways right into the scenery, and then it takes a while to actually get out there. But like all Spectrum games, especially racing games, your eyes slowly get used to the frame rate, and I think your brain starts filling in the gaps. So to me, this isn't looking so bad now. Don't know how many frames a second this is, probably about 5 or something, is it? Whoa. Starting to get used to the physics of it. We're in 5th place, so that's a bit better. Who knows, I might end up winning if I play this constantly. Okay. We won't be stopping for fuel, I don't think, in any of the easy championships. But it doesn't sound like a Lotus engine, does it? I mean, this version says 128K. It sounds a bit like 48K to me. I would have set a bit extra from the engines and maybe a bit more music. So although it says 128K, maybe this is the 48K version. I'm not sure now. Right, the road holding's good. Oh, we're into 4th. Maybe we can get on the podium. We're on the final lap. I think we're running out of distance. Whoops. I think this car would have been wrecked 100 times over. A little bit off-putting how sometimes the car's yellow, then we go up a hill and we're blue and... Oops. On the Amiga version, all the cars are white and then yours is red. That's how you make the distinguishability. Here's all a bit see-through, so it's a bit hard to see different things. But we're definitely in the desert, aren't we? This is Mexico. Do you recognise it? We'll do one race after this. Oh, fourth, that's not bad, I'll take that. Do one more race after this to see how the next circuit differs, if at all. But it always helps to learn the tracks, so you know what's coming up, and then you can actually own it. I was a great fan of the Lotus Esprit series. My favourite one was the second one. Third one added extra dimension. There was on the Amiga version at least, there was a course editor, a future track, and you up in the mountains as well. Good stuff. Good arcade racing. Right, we're in Iceland, so expect snow. Roadside rocks. Yeah, it'll be like an ice sort of place. But I doubt it'll have any effect on the road holding on this one. Finish 8th or better again. So there's 16 races. I think on the Amiga and Atari ST versions, the 18-bit, there was 20 races. Right, we're off. It's sort of like snow. Engine car sounds the same again. Struggling a little bit with the frame rate. Overtaking is tricky unless you get a bit lucky. Yeah, see, tried to overtake and ended up in the scenery. So we need a bit of luck off the starting grid, but that could be saved with any of the versions. Whoa. Here we go. Well, that's okay. 13th. We're weaving around here. 12th. 11th. So slowly getting better. So you can get good at this if you put in the practice. And as I just something's happened there. I think someone bashed me right off. And I'm almost back. I'm right at the back of the grid again. Boo! See, I was just showing off. I was just showing off, and then I got bad. The best racing game I've seen on the Spectrum, which is originally on the Commodore Amiga, I'd have to say was Stunt Car Racer. That backward compatibility was great. Jeff Cameron's, you can't go wrong with him. But I can see why they wanted to put Lotus on the Spectrum. A massive hit on all versions, so why not put it across as well. Test Drive 2, slightly better on the Amiga, but they brought it across to this as well. So I have reviewed that once. Have a look at that also. Another brave attempt, to be honest. Cockpits look great, or dashboards, I should say. 13th place as we whiz along. Scenery is sparse. That keeps the animation quite quick. Certainly feels like we're heading at a hell of a speed. A speed of 140, it says. Don't know if that's miles an hour or kph. I suppose it's miles per hour. Still sounds like a bit like a tractor going along, but there we go. Let's see if we can... well, we're on lap 2 of 5. I don't think we're going to win again, are we? Whoops, not if we keep doing stuff like that. On the hard and medium sections, you get things like rocks on the road. So imagine a road of this width, and suddenly there's obstacles and roadworks about, and then suddenly it starts becoming a pain in the bottom. Yeah, I don't think I could play this version too much. Woo! Okay. But the undulation is good. I mean, I can't take away how difficult it is to program undulation in a racing game on the Spectrum. I mean, that's a feat of genius. Here we go. Whoops. I mean, Outrun Europa did it quite well as well. I think this one slightly gets better than that. But as I say, Undulation Stunt Car Racer is the daddy. Whoops. I'm saying whoops a lot, aren't I? Which probably means I'm not very good. Floor it. Imagine if I had a player 2 weaving in front of me now and I was trying to get round here. That would be, I think they might end up with a knife in their neck. Oops. I don't think the Lotus Esprit was the fastest car in the world, was it, really? So they did well to get a trilogy. Shame it wasn't Ferrari, really. Ferrari challenge. But then, of course, knowing the way that Ferrari company work, the game would have probably cost about £200, and you would have had to buy individual tracks separately at a cost of £50. I don't know what it is. You put the word Ferrari on something, and suddenly it's like quadruples in price at least. If you had some bread that cost £1, and it's Ferrari bread, suddenly it costs about £20. That's the way it works, really. Branding. I think it's overrated, to be honest. Let's stick with Lotus. How are we doing? We're on lap 4 of 5. I'm in 8th place, which isn't hopeless, but it isn't particularly good either. How are Lotus doing in the Formula 1 Championship at the moment? I know it's due to start in March. In the 2014 season, they went massively backwards. Are they going to get back forwards in 2015? The season might be already over by the time you're watching this. Comment below. Did Lotus win the Formula 1 Championship? I think they got Roman Grosjean and the crash-happy Pastor Maldonado racing for them at the moment. Did Pastonado win the championship? Could happen. And I could win this race here as well, but both of those things are very unlikely. Driving home for Christmas. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Are we near the finishing line yet? This race is getting a bit boring. I haven't seen any competitors for quite some time. Final lap. 8th. You really have to keep an eye out for the signs, really, because they'll tell you when a bend's going to happen before it actually renders. Well, there's someone. Right, 7th. Whoops, he's going to come back past me now, is he? No. I don't know how far we are around the lap. There's no indication to say it. I'm not remembering the laps. Oh dear. I'm not remembering the laps, really. All I know is I got to come 8th or above. But we're certainly not doing the next race because although it's exciting as one person, to actually watch this, a whole championship like this, I don't know. It takes someone with a lot of patience, I think. Good to see, though. It's good to see the comparison of these games on different consoles, on different versions. It's good to have a working knowledge of how they differ, how different computers, their limitations there, what they're good at, what they were bad at, what they can do with an individual game. So it's good to know a game on more than one system. As we come 7th place. Yes. Well, there we go then. I hope you liked having a look at that one. That was Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge on the ZX Spectrum 128K. Please remember to comment, rate and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.